Hello and welcome to the third episode of Football Heaven 24/7 with me, your host, Jamie Carter. So it was a bit of a mad weekend. Um, a lot of things went down. Some of the results in the week just gone, as you're aware, I didn't quite get right. But then if I was getting them right, I wouldn't be sat here right now doing this. I would be a multimillionaire. So there we go. But anyway, a few things did go in my favour. Newcastle did beat Brentford away, as I suspected they would. They're on a great run at the moment. I think that's now 4 wins out of 5. Won quite comfortably away to Brentford 2-0. Christian Eriksen made his Premier League debut for Brentford. He done quite well from what I saw. Um, Aston Villa also did very well, and they won 2-0 away at Brighton. Brighton have had a bit of a decline, but to be fair, they've had probably one of the best the best season they've ever had in the Premier League so far. And I can still see them getting it together and sort of finishing round mid-table anyway. So that for them is a successful season. And their manager, Graham Potter, everybody's been doing great reviews on him, and they've said how fantastic he's been this season. And I got to agree with that. With Leeds, it just keeps going from bad to worse. I think Bielsa was fantastic at one point. Yeah, he did get them into the Premier League. He's done a lot of great things. And like people say, Leeds have been great to watch, but there's no point being great to watch if all that's going to happen is you're going to end up getting relegated from the Premier League and back to where you started. So I don't know. I think, and I know Leeds fans will disagree with me, some of them, that they should get rid of Bielsa. Who they should get in place of him, I've got no idea. But Bielsa, you're just not doing it anymore. And yeah, it's looking. When you lose 4-0 at home to Tottenham, you know you're in a crisis. Because that's pretty bad. I mean, Tottenham haven't had the best of seasons. I mean, they're starting to pick it up now and, lying in eighth. But I mean, eighth is not what Spurs fans want. They want to be in the Champions League like they were with Pochettino. Getting rid of Pochettino was the worst thing that team ever did, Spurs doing that. That was absolutely crazy. Anyway, another survival game was Burnley away at Crystal Palace. Now, I took Burnley to win there, but Crystal Palace has sort of made us stronger stuff these days. The games that they would have lost in the past to the teams that are struggling, they're actually getting something from now. And as I say, with the likes of Conor Gallagher and Ebrieze and especially Michael Olise, who got voted man of the match in that game, they're all stepping up now. There've been some great buys from Championship clubs. Crystal Palace have done some fantastic things buying these players for quite cheap by today's standards. And they've got so much potential. Ebrieze, I mean, I saw him watching some QPR games last season. He was a fantastic player. Oh, not last season, but a few seasons back. He was a fantastic player. And that Michael Olise that came from Reading was fantastic. At Reading, before he got that move to Palace. Now, yeah, Palace took the lead early on, and I think that's what helped them. They was unlucky to get an own goal from Mihailovic for Burnley to get back into it. But I think Burnley are fighting away, and there's only a point in it. And Everton were very unlucky in their sort of relegation survival game at home to Manchester City. I mean, Manchester City, they were in that game, they were dominated a little bit. Everton were fighting like crazy, closing down. You could see they were fighting for Frank Lampard. You could see that they were motivated. I think because of that fight and motivation, especially at home, against lesser teams and obviously Manchester City, which is pretty much everyone apart from Liverpool, I think they're going to pick up enough points from the home games that they've got left, Everton, and I'm sure, and I know I think they'll stay up for definite. And Manchester United, what can you say? I've rocking another one of their tops today. Only because I like the design and you can get them cheap up Camden, but but basically they had so many chances against Watford at home to end up drawing 0-0 was pretty shocking. But like that, Watford are obviously in there fighting, and this is the time of the season when teams down the bottom are going to be picking up some crazy results, that people wouldn't quite expect. I don't think anyone really expected Watford to go there and draw 0-0. Ben Foster had a fantastic game back at his original club that he was at. Actually, no, it wasn't his original club, but yeah, he done fantastic. I believe he was at Wrexham, I think, and then he got a move to Manchester United from what I saw on his Fozcast when I was looking at that. So yeah, he had a fantastic game. He got man of the match in that game, so he pulled off a lot of good saves. And I'm quite pleased for him, really, because he's done a fantastic job. Anyway, but yesterday on Sunday, there was one Premier League game, as we know. It was West Ham against Wolves. West Ham, they came into that game and people thought they weren't on a decline, but they weren't doing as well as they were doing before. Obviously, drawing with Newcastle, a few other results that had not quite gone their way. It looked like they were tailing off a bit, and I suppose some people were thinking, they're going to fall out the Europa League places or Champions League places. But they had a good win. Souček scored for them, and that was good for West Ham because it's got them back on track against what is a very good Wolves team. Wolves have been doing fantastic this season. Obviously, they're in the top half of the table as well. But anyway, that was a great result for them. So they got through that. And then I watched the League Cup final. I've never seen so many chances and offside goals in a game. It was just so frustrating. I mean, I know a lot of people will agree with VAR, but in my mind, I still think it's destroying the game, VAR. It's just a very, very annoying thing to have, to be celebrating, to have been a fan and to have been celebrating. And the thing is, at the weekend, Manchester City, that was a handball. Everton should have had a point there. They probably should have even had more. The way that they played in that game, they deserved more. Manchester City should not have had that, not have won that in the end. It was a clear handball. How they can say that that was not a handball and that the ball bounced, had some spin on it or some rubbish like that. I mean, come on. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, but there we go. That's the modern world that we're living in with football. VAR is destroying because it's open to interpretation. I think it should go back to taking VAR away and we should be left with the referee's decision, right or wrong. Because it's just absolutely annoying. Do you know what I mean? For me, personally. Let me know what you think in your comments down below if you disagree with that. But I'm sure a few of you will disagree. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the Championship. I'm going to go back on to obviously doing a review of, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night's football. But we're going to the Championship now, and there was a few key results. Bournemouth got a very good result at the weekend, and they beat Stoke at home, which was fantastic for them. And that got them into contention for getting promoted again. Fulham, they had a narrow win away at Cardiff. I was up in Cardiff at the weekend. Didn't see much going on because by the time I'd got up there, it was past kick-off time. I didn't get to the game because I've had other commitments. But yeah, Fulham got a narrow win. Mitrovic keeps on adding to that total. It's a record-breaking total in the Championship. I think he's got something like 34 goals, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you're looking at another 13 games left of the season. I mean, the lad, the way he's going, he could end up on 45 goals or something stupid like that. And I don't think anyone's had 40 goals in any league since Andy Cole years ago when he was playing for Newcastle. Anyway, they got a narrow win there. Looking further down, Bournemouth, as I say, they got a goal in literally the 89th minute, which got them into second place. Huddersfield are right on their tails. They're doing fantastic. I believe Huddersfield are now on a 16-game unbeaten run, which is the longest unbeaten run in the Championship this season. They're doing fantastic. So I think it's a fight between sort of Bournemouth, Huddersfield, Blackburn, and possibly QPR to get into that second spot. But even going down to sort of seventh place where Sheffield United are, where they lost at Millwall on Saturday, even Sheffield United on 53 points, they've still got a chance of possibly sneaking into that second spot. They're only 8 points off Bournemouth. That league is just an absolutely crazy league, to be fair, and it's probably, in my mind, the most entertaining because when you look at the Premier League, the top four that are there now are pretty much expected, bar Arsenal and Spurs not getting anywhere near it at the moment. But you got Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United in the top four positions. I mean, it's hardly a surprise. Whereas when you look at the Championship, people would have probably expected Fulham and Bournemouth to be in the promotion places, but they definitely wouldn't have thought that Huddersfield, Blackburn, QPR, and Luton Town would be in the playoffs. That's insane. So yeah, they've done fantastic, those teams. A special mention, for Huddersfield, Blackburn, QPR, and Luton, because they're punching way above their weight. At the start of the season, those teams were probably expected to finish mid-table or not far off the relegation zone. So to do what they've done has been fantastic. QPR obviously lost at Blackburn narrowly. Blackburn needed to start winning because they had a bit of a dip. It's a bit unfortunate for QPR there because they probably could have got something more out of that game. Barnsley was the shock in the Championship this weekend. It was an absolute shock because Barnsley were down there in the relegation zone with Derby and Peterborough, and they absolutely spanked Middlesbrough. They were 3-0 up before Middlesbrough started coming back into the game, and Middlesbrough got 2 goals back to make that a little bit more respectable. But Barnsley was definitely the result of the weekend. There's teams now fighting. I think it's between Barnsley and Reading now, fighting for that last position to stay up, in the Championship. Reading started off all right by taking the lead at Blackpool, but they got absolutely hammered in the end, 4-1. And a guy called Josh Bowler is on absolute fire at the moment. He got a goal when he played at QPR in the week, but he's absolutely smashing it, and he's had a few good goals in the last couple of weeks. He's done fantastic. So Blackpool, they're doing it. They'll be safe. They're going to be finishing sort of like just below mid-table, probably by the looks of things. And a few other results. Luton got into the playoffs for the first time in a while by beating Derby 1-0. That didn't help Derby. That set Derby back a bit. And now it's looking more like a fight between Barnsley and Reading, as I said earlier, to get out of the Championship. Forest got back on winning ways, beating Bristol City after a few blips, not winning at Preston and things like that. They've done fantastic. The magic man, Brennan Johnson, was on target again. He's doing fantastic, that lad. And I think if they can, as I said earlier, if they can have a chance of getting into the Premier League through the playoffs, they're going to need players like him to keep them there, at the end of it all. Hull had a big win at Peterborough, winning 3-0. That was a crucial win. I cannot see Peterborough coming out of the relegation zone now. When you lose at home 3-0 to Hull, you're definitely in trouble. That's pretty brutal, but they've not been the best this season. But they've started to turn it around, to be fair to them, and they're doing that. They're going to stay up, So in my mind, Derby and Peterborough are down, and I think, like I said earlier, it's between Barnsley and Reading to stay into the Championship. Looking at the leagues below that, there was a few sort of key results that helped. There was the battle of the universities at the weekend in League One between Oxford and Cambridge. Cambridge actually were 2-1 up in that game at one point, but Oxford fought back and they won 4-2 at home. So they did fantastic. Oxford cementing their place in the League One playoffs. If you look further down, that club that shouldn't exist, MK Dons, which in my opinion should never exist because, it's just a joke. The fact that they even use Dons as a name when they don't even live in the Wimbledon area, it's just disgusting in my mind. Anyway, we can tell that there was some money parting hands on that one, you know what I mean? But anyway, an absolute joke of a club. And then there's teams like mine, Scunthorpe, that are in League One, and we're a genuine club. We're not just like a made-up manufactured club to make money. Anyway, disgusting stuff. But anyway, I've had a bit of a rant on that. But anyway, moving on. Sheffield Wednesday continue to be on fire, and they've got themselves into the playoffs. They had a great win at home to Charlton 2-0. That was fantastic stuff. Um, Byers and Patterson got goals for them in that game. They're doing great. They're a massive club. I expect them to. I think they'll possibly get promoted from that. I was saying about Bolton the other day in the last programme, but Bolton seem to have tailed off a little bit. To be honest, you make predictions, you sort of think that this is the way things are going to turn out, or that's the way it's going to turn out. But especially in the lower leagues, it changes from week to week. When you think a team's got momentum, suddenly they get a bad result and they've let it slip. And I'm looking more at Sheffield Wednesday now. Sunderland had a fantastic win at Wigan. I did not expect that. Wigan slipped a bit. Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford, and MK Dons are in the League One playoff places, and you probably look at that and you look at the points tallies, and they're only sort of like between 2 and sort of 7 points off getting into that second spot place for Wigan. Rotherham are obviously smashed it. They're miles ahead. They've got 75 points in first place in the League One, and Wigan are in second with 66. And I would say, unfortunately, that club that shouldn't exist, MK, I'll just call them Milton Keynes United. They've got a chance of getting automatically promoted, which is quite sickening for me to look at. But anyway, they got a good chance. Looking outside of that playoff, it's probably going down to about 9th or 10th place that's still got a chance to get in there. But realistically, those teams that are in the playoffs right now, MK Dons, Oxford, Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday, they're most likely going to be the teams that are going to get in there. Anyway, we'll have a flip over to League Two, see what's going on there. League Two, Forest Green had a shock loss for the first time in a bit. They lost away at Crawley. They're the top team in League One League Two even at the moment. And I mean, they're 10 points clear of second place Northampton still. But I think they'll go up. They're a well-run club. And the chairman there has done wonderful things for the environment. I believe their shirt is made out of recycled material. I don't know if it was compost off a heap or something, but they've done a good job. They run well. They've got healthy, good diets, which you can see is actually improving that squad and helping them to achieve what they're achieving. Looking down the team, it's all but lost for my team. Scunthorpe at the bottom. As I said in previous weeks, they're doing shocking at the moment. It's the worst team we've ever had in our entire history. I could see the signs when we were selling players over the last few seasons, and why the hell they got rid of Graham Alexander, I do not know. How do you get rid of a guy who gets you into the League One playoffs 2 seasons in a row? Yeah, they didn't get promoted, but we're a team that at best gets 3,500 fans when we were in League One. I mean, for a catchment area of 60,000 people, that is a miracle to get that kind of crowd. And well, no, it's not a miracle. It's pretty shocking. We should be getting 10,000, but at least. But yeah, I'd sort of despair with what's going on there at the moment. It's not cool. But anyway, they'll be in the conference next year, and it's looking like a fight between everyone all the way up to Leyton Orient, who have been on a bad run. They lost their manager, Jackett. His name is Kenny Jackett. They're on a really bad run. Lost again at home to Carlisle, Leyton Orient. So when you're looking at the table, you're looking at the final relegation place, which is Oldham with 30 points. Scunthorpe right at the bottom with 23, which looks pretty dire considering that we just can't score. You're going all the way up to Walsall, about 6 or 7 places higher. It's a fight between Walsall, Leyton Orient, Stevenage, Barrow, Colchester, Carlisle, and Oldham to sort of avoid that last relegation place. In League Two. Pretty grim stuff. Pretty grim reading. Anyway, let's look to the week ahead because I got a bit bogged down. That, like I say, that League Cup final was fantastic. Although there was no goals, Liverpool won the penalty shootout 11-10. And I laughed at Chelsea bringing on Kepa Arrizabalaga, who barely gets any time playing for Chelsea now. They brought him on like he was going to be the penalty saviour, and he was the guy that ballooned the final kick over the bar when all the other penalties have been absolutely fantastic and spot on before that. someone had to miss. It was unfortunate for him, but the fact that Chelsea was so cocky to believe that they could bring him on and that he would save the day, and then he ended up being the one that balls it up for them was pretty funny to watch. No offense, Chelsea fans, but that was being a bit cocky, and to do that. Anyway, like I say, VR destroyed that game. There was a couple of, I mean, come on. I mean, there was so many chances. Mason Mount will be absolutely gutted this morning, knowing that he had a couple of very gilt-edged chances to finish. I would say Minan could finish that, but that would be lying because she wouldn't be able to. But it was still bad. Anyway, go on to the week's fixtures. Tonight, there's a massive clash. This is Monday today, Monday the 27th, I believe, or the 28th even. And looking at it, it's West Brom against Swansea tonight. And I can only see West Brom getting back on track in that game. I'm going to go for 1-0 to West Brom. I'm not thinking loads of goals because they haven't been doing great this season. They're well outside the playoffs in the Championship. In fact, they've dropped really low down. They're always almost mid-table, so I think they'll win 1-0 against Swansea. Then we go into the midweek games. You've got all the FA Cup action. Excuse me, on Tuesday night. You've got games on against League and League One and League Two. And I would say going into the FA Cup games, you've got Crystal Palace against Stoke. I think when I look at that, I'm going to say 2-0 to Palace against Stoke in that game. Then you've got Middlesbrough against Tottenham in the 5th round of the FA Cup. I'll go for Tottenham 2-0 in that one. And then you've got Peterborough against Manchester City. Also on a Tuesday night, that's Peterborough against Manchester City. And that will be, I think I'm going to go 3 or 4-0 to, I'll say 4-0 to Manchester City on that one. And then there's a Premier League catch-up game for Burnley against Leicester. Burnley continuing their fight to get out of relegation. I will say Burnley will win that. I'll go 1-0 because they normally scrape it, don't they, in most of the games. And if they win that puts Everton in the relegation zone. So there we go. Everton's got a fight on their hands. But when I look at it at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be Leeds or Brentford to drop into that relegation place. I think Watford, even though they're fighting a bit, and Norwich are pretty much dead and buried. And I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to say that Leeds will just escape it, and I think that Brentford will fall into that last relegation spot. I think Everton will just escape it. Everton and Leeds have just got slightly stronger squads. You know what I mean? They can pull like the odd result out of the bag, whereas Brentford seems to be on a bit of a free fall at the moment. Newcastle have pulled well away. Leicester have got too much in them as well, so they're pretty much safe now. Newcastle, I would say, would definitely be safe. But yeah, I think it's pretty much doom and gloom for Brentford fans. I'm sorry, you started off really well. You've certainly not embarrassed yourself this season. You've had a fantastic season. But yeah, you're going down. In my book, anyway. Maybe I'll change my mind in a couple of weeks if they start to pull some results together, but it's not looking good for them. Leeds, they're on a bit of a slide. They've let in like something stupid like 20 odd goals in the last 4 or 5 games. They've got the worst defensive record, but they have got the ability to pull stuff out of the bag. And if Bamford and Phillips can come back into that team, they've got a chance of staying up. Anyway, that's my review. Oh, I will go do Wednesday night's games in the FA Cup. Wednesday night's games, you've got Liverpool versus Norwich. I'll say 4-1 to Liverpool in that game. Luton against Chelsea. I will say that Chelsea will win that, and I'll go 3-1 Chelsea. And then Southampton against West Ham. This is a big one because all the West Ham people that I know locally. I will say in that game, I'll go 1-1 because I think West Ham have got fight in them, but Southampton are also a really good team. So I believe that will go into a replay at West Ham, so we'll see what happens. But it would be nice if West Ham could have a good cup run and get to the final this year. The fans deserve some glory. They've been very loyal this season. And that's the end for my review for Monday morning. I did a review of the weekend's action and also a review of the games yet to come. I will be back again either on Wednesday evening or Thursday. In fact, I may even do something tomorrow, but it will be more sort of talking about football in general, less on the games, more concentration on certain individuals like players and managers and things like that. Um, Thank you for joining me. I appreciate all your support. Please like and subscribe this video. We're going to continue to get bigger and better. There will be more things talked about in depth. Obviously, I'm feeling my way through this at this time. And as I say, please like and subscribe. Please pass on to all your friends and family and let them know what we're up to. And have a great week. All the best.